we've already got it installed here, and I have a sample sanitized mongod.log. So this is not anyone's actual data, don't worry. And I downloaded that. Thomas actually kindly provided it for me. He uses it for his own testing. And it has some interesting events in it. Well, the first thing we're going to do is run mloginfo. Mloginfo is kind of a good starting point. It gives you the duration of the log, it gives you some information about the version of the mongod that are being run in this log file. And then with this -- queries option, this is where I tend to start for a performance issue. It gives you information about the query patterns and what's going on. It's like a snapshotted version of MongoTop based on the log file that you feed into it. So let's run that. I'm going to have to just expand things out here a bit, make it readable. So now that everything's on one line, it's actually quite readable. I will go into what's further over on the right there now in a second, because it is quite interesting. But the first couple of things: namespace, pattern, count. So this is the namespace, in other words, the database and collection that the query pattern was run on. These are the criteria that are being used as part of that pattern. So in this case, datetime used not equal to 1. That's not going to be a terribly efficient query from what we know about not equal. So even if it is indexed, it's not going to be terribly efficient. But one of the things that you can use here is you can use these sort of top 10, top 20 type lists on a large log file to see where the time is being spent. What do I mean by that? Well, if we go over to the right here, we will see that this is actually being ordered by the sum of milliseconds from the log file. So the milliseconds count in the log file is, as we've covered already, how long it took for that operation to complete. And what the tool is doing, summing them all up, all of those milliseconds being reported, and then ordering the log file by the total. So this is the time spent doing this particular piece of work in this query pattern. You can see there's only 20 of these queries up here at the top, and yet they're taking an inordinate amount of time, and they're consistently taking that amount of time, because we've got the min, which is 15 seconds, the max, which is 17, and the mean, which is 16. So they're pretty much consistently taking an awful lot of time, and even though there's only a few of them, they're taking up an awful lot of time on the database. So this would be the first place you'd start, maybe adding an index, or maybe refactoring this not equals query to use something else, so that you're not, churning away on your database running that query. And then you can step down through the rest in terms of order of importance, order of time spent by your database in that particular log file. So you see it's a good starting point here for that sort of in-depth query analysis and schema work that you can kick off from. So it's a great starter tool. So I like mloginfo for that use. And that's very nice, but it is still text-based, so we haven't taken a huge leap off of what we were doing. It's just sort of a nicer format and a well-presented and useful way of looking at the data contained in the log files.